in 2 years. And in 2 years, amazing things can happen. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. And just when you think you've seen it all, you're wearing white.
Like a virgin.
Touched for the very first time. What happens after you say I do? It hits you. You haven't seen anything yet.
How's my tie?
How's my tie?
Wow.
The movie starts with Stanford and Anthony are getting married.
Don't want to be late to my first gay wedding.
This is not a gay wedding. They have this gorgeous, massive, over-the-top, hugely expensive wedding.
Look who's marrying them.
Okay, it's a gay wedding.
The whole beginning of the movie, the big wedding at the top, the gay wedding, it's gigantic. There's swans swimming in the moat, because I wanted it to be extravagant and silly.
Can you believe this place? It looks like the Snow Queen exploded.
It was the wedding extravaganza. It was like all the things that Michael Patrick ever wanted to do at a wedding, he got to do.
Compared to the wedding that we had in the first movie, this is over the top, if you can imagine.
It was enormous, the wedding. It was some of the stuff that I think Sex and the City does so well. It's very topical, it's very funny, and it's very touching. All three of those things at the same time.
The lives of Carrie, Miranda, Charlotte, and Samantha, to write those lives is a responsibility. Each of those women is reflected somewhere in the audience.
I love the characters that Michael wrote and following along their lives and how they reflect us. It's exciting because it's so relatable. It's completely exciting to do another installment in these characters' lives.
When you're writing these stories, it's important to me to be very respectful of the investment that the audience already has.
What's interesting to me about this story, as Michael Patrick always so cleverly does, is he paints a portrait, like a landscape. And all the women at this point in their lives seem to have found some kind of contentment that is mostly, I think, what they thought they wanted.
Big and I are getting a little too Mr. and Mrs. Married.
It's 2 years later, and Carrie is married to the love of her life, the man she has spent most of her adult life pursuing.
Happy anniversary.
Carrie has spent the entire part of her career writing about being single. And for the first time, she's writing about a different topic. The truth is, she doesn't know a lot about being married.
To keep coming back is getting to know more about Samantha. I think also on top of everything else, it's really fun. Samantha is probably one of the most shoot-from-the-hip characters that's ever been created.
Is that maybe a little young?
Exactly how old do you think I am? And not that it matters. I will rock this dress. She's starting yet again a new life, and this being a different decade for her makes it in some ways more challenging.
Everyone's just living their lives and trying to make all their relationships work. Charlotte had had her baby Rose. Things are not going quite as smoothly for Charlotte.
Rose is just driving us a little crazy.
No, not crazy. She's just a little fussy. Everything's fine.
And that's her ongoing quest as a character, is to accept the fact that she's not perfect.
Being a mother is hard. I needed a break. I think the most exciting thing about returning to Miranda has always been the way Michael Patrick keeps her evolving. She is really a fairly happy wife and mother. I made it. I never make it. In this film, she really is sort of the cheerleader. Woo! She's the one sort of taking emotional care of the other three.
These four characters really make up a complete woman, and that's why they're so relatable.
Because of their very busy lives, the girls are having a hard time finding time, just the four of them. There's babies and husbands and jobs in the way. And sometimes you just got to get away with the girls.
And action!
1 week in Abu Dhabi, all expenses paid.
Get out of town.
My point exactly.
Desert moons, Scheherazade, magic carpet.
This movie is really a romp. Forbidden experience coming at you.
I wrote Sex and the City too because I wanted it to be a big, fun adventure.
To get to go on such an adventure together, it's crazy.
These girls are these four die-hard New York characters. When they're together, it doesn't matter if they're in New York City, if they're in the Middle East.
They must not be in the right place.
No, for once in my life, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I am in the exact right place.
It's still these four characters. It's Sex and the City, and it can go anywhere because their lives go with them wherever they go.
This is the best mirage that I've ever had. Come here, you.
We bump into each other halfway around the world? It means something.
I think you're playing with fire.
The production design is massive, and it was a different approach to the day. It felt big.
And action! I think one of the great treats of Sex and the City is the aesthetic. There's two reasons people come to see these girls: their emotional life and the physical environments that they live in. The look of the movie, to me, is very important because people hold us to a standard. We don't phone it in.
Another day at work. It's very cinematic, and it's big costumes, and it's mind-blowing. This very exotic, very colorful backdrop.
I'm having a hot flash. If you're on a camel in the middle of the Arabian desert, if you're not having a hot flash, you're dead.
Their lives are grounded and messy and human, and the places they go are a little bit more of a vacation for the audience. Now, in our movie, they're walking across the Sahara Desert dunes dressed in Chanel.
Michael's whole thing is that the ladies are on a romp, and it becomes a buddy picture. It's the four ladies traveling together.
I gotta bring it out of retirement. This is fabulous.
The Sahara dunes are so gorgeous, and we have such an iconic idea of them in our heads from Lawrence of Arabia and everything, but I mean, they really are there.
That's my phone! Oh my God! It's my phone! Where's her long distance provider?
And it's so beautiful, your eye almost sees it like a postcard.
I'm dying of the beauty! I'm freaking out!
It's probably one of the most unique situations a person could ever experience.
Just being out there and working at all was amazing, but to be riding a camel with all of us is so funny and weird, like to turn around and see Kim and Sarah on a camel.
It reminds me of the road pictures of Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, where you're going off to exotic locations and this world that is so foreign to them.
And just to see Samantha in a conservative country, that alone is funny.
We've never had an experience like this where we're not just out of town, we were like out of town. I won't say it was like summer camp because it was far too exotic for that, but it was a bonding experience, I would say, to be so far from home.
$20? For shoes.
I think it's the best time we ever had as a group because we knew intimately what our experiences were. We were going home to each other, and I think it was the best thing in the world for us, and I don't think we ever felt closer.
There's a lot of the world of New York represented in Pat Field's costume design. And in this movie, she also has to go to a whole other hemisphere of clothing.
Not to not be fun, but I'm not really dressed to get on a camel.
I just want to make everything look gorgeous and interesting and sometimes curious. That will arouse someone's curiosity.
And that's what was so incredible about Pat. She was so industrious and smart and creative.
Everybody knew these women. You have to reference their past, so it has to make sense.
She always wants to push further, higher, push the envelope.
I can't be ready in an hour! Oh.
The costumes are still colorful and outrageous and over the top, and I really liked that.
But also, in the part of the movie that takes place in the Middle East, we had to still have our kind of fashion-forward sense, but have it be realistic.
I had a lot of fun with this movie because it took us away on a magic vacation.
I love your hat. And I thought mine was going to be too much.
The clothes are wonderful, and they're fun, and they're exciting, but you hang your hat on a story.
I missed you.
I missed you.
I like being responsible for and to the people that have given themselves to us. I don't know the life of Sex and the City beyond where we are now, which is, please let us have produced a movie worth our audience's hopes.
On Sex and the City, we've been so fortunate as actors to play these characters over such a long period of time. It's kind of a dream because the more you play a character, the better you know it, and the better it gets infused with parts of you. It just gets, for me, deeper and richer. Much more fun.
We're extremely different as people, and I think that's why it works. We rely on each other, and there's no way we would ever get through all the things we've gotten through if we didn't.
God, I had such a good time, you know? So that's the payoff. But I think that the fact that if we weren't having fun on film, I don't think the audience would be having the same experience. And we are. And this is a family.
We're always amazed and very, very touched and excited by how people really, you know, want to see more, and they want to check in with these characters, and they want to see where Michael Patrick will take them, both emotionally and in the case of this film, literally.
You couldn't do it without the actresses who know the parts as well as they do. They understand that the bar is high, and the attention to details, you know, it's stunning. It's pretty exciting to go to the next chapter and to see what happens after Happily Ever After.
I feel this enormous love towards these characters, and a kind of a gratefulness that it's happening for them, like that these girls live on and they get to see it. It's something you've never seen before, and you've seen a lot of Sex and the City.
This is one of those rare cases where we feel you're actually making a movie because the audience tells you to. That's the only way we know how to deal with these characters now, is if it's the right thing to do by our audience, because they've done the right thing by us for a really long time.
We made a deal ages ago. Man, babies, doesn't matter. We're soulmates.
Like Jasmine and Aladdin? Yes, sweetie, but with cocktails.
I want more you, more me. I want